Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda Rose and I am a high school social studies teacher in Brooklyn, New York. And today I am going to give you guys my week 5 remote teaching update. I think it's week 5. It's so hard to keep track of the days and the weeks anymore. Does anyone else feel that way? But I believe it's my week 5 update. Now, I haven't done an update for a while. I think my last one here was week 2. But I've been really busy and trying to figure this thing out, and also all of the suggestions that you all provided in my last video. I just want to say thank you to everyone who did that. It was so helpful. I don't think that this video is going to be too long, only because I don't have much to say, but I did want to update you guys and not leave you hanging, especially again for those of you that provided suggestions. I wanted you to know how things are going. So the first thing that I would like to say is that everything remains the same as far as the programs that I'm using: Edgenuity, Google Classroom, and now also Google Meets, no longer using Zoom. Even though my school has said that we are allowed to use it, allowing all of these other things. So saving into the cloud, as far as recording every single one of them, allowing the waiting room, allowing a password, all these things, right? But I've been using Google Meets. Now, I do want to say that I have chosen to do Google Meets once a week with my students. The goal of this, I've only done one so far, and it was really great. I did it as more of like a social emotional check-in with them, just to see how they're doing. I didn't really want to talk about work. I just wanted to see where they were at or hear from them. Some of them chose not to do the visual, which is totally fine. But it was really nice to hear. And I also made it optional. So that was the first thing of just anyone who's willing to come and check in, please do so. So I had a little less than half of my students show up from all 4 of my classes, which is okay. Of course, I would have liked more, but in all honesty, I'm just grateful that even one showed up. Since it was optional, I was like, wow, you really chose to meet here and do this virtual meeting. So I was grateful for that. But moving forward, my goal for Google Meet is going to be to do them every Tuesday with my students, and it's going to be 30 minutes per class, and I'm just going to set the tone for the rest of the week. Here are the expectations. These are the topics you should be learning about. Do like a really quick summary and like vocab list of all of the content that they're going to be learning about, and then send them off to do their own thing. And then on Friday, I'm going to add in onto Google Classroom like a summary assignment. So not only are they going to be doing the work on Edgenuity, which really isn't a lot of work. I think it's really fairly spread out for them, or at least the way that my school is allowing us to do it. And then at the end of the week, I'm just going to do like a weekly summary response through Google Classroom of everything that they've learned. Now, the consensus from the kids that they're not really a fan of Edgenuity. They do prefer Google Classroom because of the interaction that it provides with the peers. So Edgenuity is very like just the kids. And the reason why I wanted to start doing Google Meets so soon is because, yes, it's, you know, we want to see the kids, but the truth is them interacting with each other is so much more important. When I had them on, they were talking about all the colleges that they got accepted to and where they want to go, and you know, those were conversations that they were having with each other. I know that they missed that, and so I was so happy that we were able to do Google Meets this Tuesday, just to provide that space for them to be able to interact. And so again, I'm just really grateful that we even have technology that allows us to do that. It's definitely not perfect, but it was nice to have that moment. So that's where we're going to be doing Google Meets once a week. It will no longer be optional. Once I move to the once a week starting next Tuesday, students will have to meet for that, especially because, again, there's a lot of confusion about what's expected, when are certain due dates, and so they have to meet for that that half an hour, and they won't have to do Edgenuity work when they meet with me. Next thing I want to update you guys on is grading. So my school is continuing the policy of 3 grades per week. We've always had this policy in since as long as I can remember, for as long as I've been at this school. And so I'm just going to do 2 class work grades and 1 quiz. Edgenuity has quizzes on there, so I am just going to take the quizzes, review the ones that the students have gotten, and then I will also be using the Google Meets to look at the information from the quizzes and then like address issues, concerns, misconceptions on those Tuesday meetings. So that's also why I really need that, because a lot of the wrong answers, it's hard to like individually respond to all the students, but if I can do it in one location at one time, that would be really helpful. The classwork assignments also include like the SEL check-ins. If I end up doing one on Google Classroom, that will count as a classwork grade, not always everything that they have to do on Edgenuity. So I'm trying to be mindful. Most of the feedback from the students was that they just feel overwhelmed, which is 100% understandable. They feel like now it's so much more work, not necessarily from my class, but just from the school body as a whole, that they just feel really overwhelmed and bombarded with so much work. And so I do believe them. I think that in our concept of like, we want to make sure we're still providing a great education, I think we are overwhelming them and bombarding them with way too much. So point well taken, and we will make adjustments. Also, what I've really liked is using Google Meets for one-on-one meetings with students. So the guidance team at my school, as I've said over and over, they are without a shadow of a doubt one of the best groups of people I have ever worked with. And so every time there's a student of concern, whether it be attendance or grades dropping, again, because we have seniors and we want to make sure that they graduate and they get their credit, we will flag them with guidance. Guidance sets up a Google Meets meeting with them during our second half of the day, and all of the teachers and that student and guidance meet, and we discuss plans for that student. Hey, what assignment can we hold off on? The English teacher and myself, we collaborated and we're like, okay, work on Miss Rodriguez's essay first, hold off on the English one. Rodriguez will tell me once you submit hers, so then you can work on mine. And so just really trying to figure out the best way to meet our students so that we can alleviate whatever pressure they are feeling. And so that the Google Meets with the individual students of concern have been amazing, and I've also seen an improvement in their work ethic after meeting with them. I think it's just important for them to know that we care, that we're reaching out, and that we're doing everything that we can besides be in the school building to support. We're also using these other things to like plan with my co-teacher, so we are still planning. It's very little planning, again, because Edgenuity does a lot of it, but she is helping modify a lot of the work, even though it does already provide modifications. But sometimes our students will need sentence starters or just information that is chunked in a way that's a lot more palatable. So we've been discussing those things weekly. We meet on Thursdays, and that's been really helpful as well. And the last thing, emailing and staying in contact with parents. That has been really hard. I feel like at least 50% of my time is spent contacting parents, whether it be updating them, trying to get in contact with them, sending emails, phone calls. There's so many things that we're doing to make sure that our parents are staying in the loop, and that has been the bulk of my time, just making sure the parents know where their child is at, because graduation could be in jeopardy. And so I just want to make sure that we have every base covered, they know what's up, that they've been told well in advance, and then hopefully that they can help put a little pep in their step for their kids so that they can get a lot of the work done. Now, overall sentiment about online teaching and online learning, I think for the most part we know, like, it's, you know, like overall there's nothing that beats being in a classroom. And I really do hope that when September comes around, we can do this. I think that we're doing the best that we can, whether it be setting agendas on Google Classroom, meeting with students individually, trying to set up meetings with parents, meeting with guidance, meeting with staff, meeting with co-teachers. Like, it's just, we're trying to hit every base as far as communication. My school also does weekly, so every Friday they do Zoom meetings with parents. And so it's almost like we used to send out a weekly newsletter, but this time we just do it virtually where parents can log in. And so we really are trying to hit every piece of communication possible. And again, just really thankful for that, grateful for that. Overall, I have seen a huge decline in the work ethic of my students and their lack of motivation. Their words, not mine. They just don't feel motivated. And I think a lot of that is just because they're out of their element. There's no structure, no routine. And it's hard to build those things when the school building did that for them. And of course, just being a senior and not having all of those things to look forward to like the regular, like any other senior class would. So that's pretty much where I'm at. It's not like the most exciting thing, but I will say thank you to everyone who suggested Google Meet and also showed me, I think someone sent me a link about how to see the grid view as well. So thank you for that. And that's pretty much my update. Remote teaching, learning, week 5, like that's just where we're at right now. I feel very melancholy about it, but that's the update, and I hope that you guys enjoy, and I will see you in the next video.